The year is 2025, and the world's environment has deteriorated to the point that life has become impossible on Earth. Only the rich can afford to live in air domes, which have the functionality to filter the contaminated toxic air. Governments and states are no longer active and have been replaced by big corporations. Corporate armies are given the duty to resolve conflicts over resources and territorial borders. Those who were sent to outer space to look for refuge solutions have been unsuccessful in finding any. The Nibra Corporation owns the last extraterrestrial research base, and they are still searching for solutions to the environmental crisis. Hannah and Gavin are approaching the space station named Rubicon. Gavin is on edge, since it is his first time in outer space. Hannah is in control of the station named Rubicon. She assures Gavin that everything will be all right as they enter the dock of the station. As the Rubicon station crew members guide Hannah to dock, she almost loses control, and Gavin fears that their station might crash. Fortunately, Hannah gains control of her station and is able to dock the station successfully. The crew members notice a small metal strip behind Hannah's ear and begin to suspect that Hannah is a soldier sent from Nibra. Hannah and Gavin look around Rubicon, and both of them get a view of the algae around the station. The algae symbiosis system in the ship is responsible for producing oxygen and food. It is the only thing that is keeping the crew members in Rubicon alive. In fact, the algae cultures are the last key to humanity's survival. Hannah gets in contact with her sister, Nop, who is still on Earth, serving as a soldier. Hannah promises to find a solution to her situation and bring Nop to her. Their contact is broken when Nop is needed for an emergency. The Rubicon crew members welcome Hannah and Gavin by raising a toast. Dimitri has been in charge of Rubicon for a long time now, and the rest of the crew members are looking to go back to Earth soon. Gavin is the son of an executive. Dimitri's son, Danilo, questions why an executive would send his son on a mission to outer space. Gavin and Danilo don't get along. Hannah learns that there is a strange toxic fog cluster in the northern hemisphere, and the team members are planning to go there to find out more tomorrow. Gavin, who is a chemist, is working tirelessly in order to find out more about the mysterious fog. None of them are aware that Hannah is on her own secret mission, which was given to her by Nibra. The secret mission is to take out the algae symbiosis system from Rubicon and bring it back to Earth, without Dimitri finding out. Hannah is on a call with one of the executives at Nibra. The executive orders Hannah to move fast with the mission, but Hannah is hesitating, as the algae system on the station is quite complex. Hannah looks around and tries to get into the algae system. Before she can get inside, Dimitri arrives and looks at Hannah suspiciously. The team members are leaving for the northern hemisphere, and Dimitri wishes his son a safe journey. When the team reaches Earth, they tell Hannah, Gavin, and Dimitri that they can barely see anything. The fog is extremely intense. The team is having a hard time landing, something Hannah and Gavin encountered when they arrived at Rubicon. Hannah goes to check Rubicon's optical unit, as the team members are having trouble getting in contact with Rubicon. The situation deteriorates. All three of them hear that the shuttle, which the rest of the team is on, is about to crash. Hannah returns back inside and gets in contact with her sister. Nop tells Hannah that all of the people down on Earth are being forced inside bunkers due to changing environmental conditions. Dimitri can no longer get in contact with the rest of the crew. They now assume that all of them died in a crash. Dimitri is heartbroken. He might have just lost his son, and he feels no connection to Hannah and Gavin, who are the only survivors. Hannah wants to ask Dimitri some questions about the symbiosis system and the gas exchange rate. After all, the only reason they can breathe at the station is because of them. Dimitri, who can't get over the loss of his son, refuses to answer any questions. The three of them spend the coming days in depression. They've lost all contact with Earth and Rubicon, and their situation feels hopeless. While Hannah sets up a device that would help her get in contact with Earth, she finds Gavin attempting to take his own life. He enters a cabin and depressurizes it, leaving himself with no oxygen. Hannah and Dimitri rush to save his life. It is hard for them to open the cabin at first, but after a few attempts, they get it open. Hannah and Dimitri perform CPR to save Gavin. By some stroke of luck, they successfully revive the man. For the next few days, Gavin is unable to get a hold of himself. He believes that all of humanity is gone, except for the three of them. Dimitri asks Hannah if anyone is waiting for her back on Earth. Hannah thinks that it doesn't matter. All three of them will suffocate to death in the Rubicon if they don't find a way out. Dimitri, on the other hand, is hopeful. They have a strong breathing symbiosis system, and it might just be enough to sustain them. Hannah is setting up an old ISS radio system that could potentially get them in contact with Earth. Dimitri is skeptical at first, but he ends up helping Hannah. While Hannah sets up the device, they develop a friendly bond. Hannah powers up the device. To their disappointment, they can't get into contact with anyone. Meanwhile, Gavin is still having a hard time coming back to his senses. Gavin blames the destruction of the Earth on humanity. If they had fought fewer wars and made peace, none of this would have happened. If anyone is still down there, they would pass away soon because of insufficient oxygen. Gavin reminds them that this is likely their fate, too. Gavin prefers a quick death over something like this, but Dmitri warns him from doing something fatal to himself again, since it can lead to the death of Dmitri and Hannah. Dmitri informs them that the entire symbiosis system works on converting carbon dioxide into oxygen, and the bare minimum for an efficient gas exchange like this needs at least 3 individuals on the station. If Gavin harms himself again, he would be risking the lives of Dmitri and Hannah. Hannah spends some time with Gavin, in hopes of bonding with him. Things take a different direction when it gets romantic between the two. Meanwhile, Dmitri is up to something in his lab. He wants to prevent Hannah and Gavin from doing anything that could put their survival in jeopardy. When none of them are doing anything of value, they spend their time watching movies, playing cards, and dancing to music. One night, Hannah miraculously finds a voice message from Earth. A woman informs Rubicon that she, along with a group of survivors, is stationed in a bunker under Nibra headquarters. Hannah hurries to wake Gavin and Dmitri up. The woman gets in contact with Hannah again. She tells Hannah that there are over 300 survivors in the bunker, and most of them are executives of Nibra or family members. The woman explains that they are not sure what happened. The fog came quickly, and they are forced to live in a bunker now. Hannah and Gavin are more than happy to hear the news. They can save and get more people on Rubicon now. But Dmitri has doubts about going to Earth. Gavin explains that he has observed openings in the fog that could allow them to go to Earth. The people in the bunker are equipped with mobile oxygen tanks, which could help them get to Rubicon. Dmitri asks Gavin and Hannah what they would do if he doesn't allow them to go back to Earth. Gavin is confused as to why Dmitri would not want to save the people on Earth. Dmitri says that it is irresponsible and stupid to go back to their planet. He also reminds Gavin of what happened last time their crew members tried to land on Earth. Gavin is angry at Dmitri's reluctance. During her routine health checkup and blood donation, Hannah is asked why she would want to help those executives and their families, when all they've done is use her as a weapon. Hannah defends Nibra. At the end of the day, they got her off Earth when everything was falling apart, and she is grateful. Hannah and Gavin threaten Dmitri. They have made up their mind about leaving Rubicon. They're going to save those people on Earth, and if he won't join them, he'll have to remain alone in the station. Dmitri shows both of them the contaminated algae. He says that the algae was contaminated by Hannah's hormonal blood level, and asks again if they want to risk leaving Rubicon. Gavin thinks that this might be Dmitri's trick to remain on Rubicon. Hannah is practicing the landing of the shuttle when Gavin comes and asks if she still wants to proceed with the mission. The topic of children comes up, and Gavin asks Hannah if she would ever want to have a child with. Gavin is excited just by the thought of it, but Hannah only wants to have children when the conditions are right. Dmitri agrees to go with Hannah and Gavin, but he messes with the jet tanks before the departure. Before they could leave for another station, the entire station begins to heat up. All of them abandon the ship, and Hannah goes to check what could be wrong with it. She finds out that the station's cooling system was shut off 11 hours ago. The entire ship overheats to the point where it blows up. Hannah and Gavin are hopeless now, and Dmitri refuses to own up to sabotaging the mission. Later, when Hannah and Gavin cool off, they go back to the topic of having a child. Surprisingly, Dmitri jumps into the conversation. He thinks that it is exciting to have a child, and reminisces about his own son's childhood. Hannah tells Gavin about her secret mission, taking the algae symbiosis system from Rubicon to Earth. This sparks an argument, and Gavin asks her why she didn't tell him before. If he knew, they could have used it for everyone's advantage. Later on, Hannah discovers that Dmitri messed up the cooling system. Dmitri asks Hannah why she's so eager to return home. He asks if Nibra would have saved Hannah like she wanted to save them, or if Nibra would have shared their bunkers with all 3 of them if they were in need. These questions plant a seed of doubt in Hannah, and she begins rethinking her loyalty to Nibra. Dmitri insists that Nibra would take the algae all to themselves, if they ever get access to it. Hannah gets in contact with the woman at Nibra again. Hannah asks to talk to her sister. The woman tells her that the soldiers have been stationed outside the bunker to protect the occupants. This means that all of the soldiers are dead in the fog. The woman assures Hannah that the soldiers chose to protect the executives and their families. Devastated at finding out her sister is no longer alive, Hannah breaks down. Hannah and Gavin have another argument about going back to Earth. Hannah doesn't want to anymore, but Gavin still does. A few days later, Gavin ties Dmitri up and asks Hannah to go to Earth with. Hannah stops him immediately. Hopeless and defeated, Gavin puts his soul to rest, successfully, this time. Hannah breaks down crying, and Dmitri tells Hannah that he lied to them. The station doesn't need 3 people on board for the system to work. He only said that to stop Gavin from taking his own life. Years later, the two have adjusted to life on the station well. Hannah has a daughter, and all of them are at peace together. Now grown up, Hannah's daughter gets in contact with people on Earth. Shockingly, life has continued to exist on Earth, and the environment has gone back to normal. The future that awaits humanity is bright.